It's coming home. It's coming home. It's coming. Chris, it's coming home.
It is. I'm pretty convinced. And now that it is. Sorry, I'm just still taken aback by that noise that I just heard. But yeah, I think, Tony, you said it all along. You said it last week. You told me it's coming home. And I didn't believe you. And it is clear now that it is after that fantastic victory against Schweiz, who we slapped up and we showed them clean air, doesn't matter. Alpine mountains, doesn't matter. Low taxes, doesn't matter. Great chocolate, doesn't matter. Clear cheese, doesn't matter. You're rubbish, you're useless.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was singing that classic 96 England song. And I was singing it in the bar where I was watching the game, and I got a lot of cheers. So I thought I'd just carry on singing
in that voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, my voice may be a little bit scratchy from all the screaming when.
And all the booze you had on Saturday night.
Yeah, and all the booze basically. But what can I say? Brilliant penalties, and that is not typical of England. You know, each one of them was just perfection. Okay, the Tony one did have me a little bit squirming a bit because I wasn't sure where he was going. I'm not sure if he knew where it was going to end up, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, listen, he's got that arrogance. He's ice cool, and that's what I like about him. And that's what all of them were, really. Somebody did make a comment on Twitter of, we finally got out of the nervous zone with penalties because Southgate solved it by picking people who don't have any brain cells, like Cole Palmer and Ivan Toney, which is a bit unfair, maybe. But
to be fair, Cole Palmer is known to be putting away the penalties. Apparently, Tony's very good at penalties.
I don't think he's missed more than one. He might have missed one ever or something like that.
Okay.
And obviously Bellingham, amazing. Saka takes them for Arsenal. I know he had the famous miss.
He does.
Alexander-Arnold, great dead ball taker. So, you know.
I mean, it was a great. I mean, I wasn't nervous. I mean, I was handing around Lindt chocolate around. I bought a packet in before I got into the bar, and they're like, "What is this for?" I was like, "Because we're going to eat them
eat them alive,
eat them for dinner." But yeah, it was quite an atmosphere in the bar. I mean, I did get a little bit intimidated when everyone starts slamming down on the tables and they start going, "I'm England till I die."
Were they actually singing that in the bar? Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I was a little bit intimidated. I mean, I was cheering along, and I looked around, and I did see some it's quite multicultural, so I felt a little bit more kind of like, yeah, this is great. But yeah, it was a great atmosphere, and I wasn't nervous in the one bit. I wasn't nervous at all. And my girlfriend's actually squeezing my hand.
She was really nervous.
Yeah. I mean, how did you feel, Chris?
I was a bit nervous about it, but yeah, I mean, nothing compared to when it was the final a few years ago, and obviously we went out in that one really sadly. Yeah. We lost to Italy, undeservedly so. But yeah, I was still a little bit nervous about it. But Tony, come on. We've just slapped up one of the best sides in that tournament on penalties. We have shown resilience, grit, determination. Is it just me, or are we going to slap up the Dutch on Wednesday night?
I think it's going to be standard procedures, really. I think I reckon we will beat the Dutch in kind of normal time. I don't think we would go to penalties.
I think 3-0.
I was a little bit optimistic and said it was 2-0 against
Schweiz.
I think it might be like 2-0.
It's going to be close. And I think Netherlands, good team, and they are a bit of a threat going forwards, but they're quite open.
Yeah.
So that's why I think we're going to beat them 2-1.
Okay.
On the night. And they're just not going to have enough for us. And, you know, they're used to being high in the Netherlands. Well, I'll tell you what, they're not going to be high once we're finished with them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to be on a downer. Can I just say the stuff about the Swiss that I've been saying for quite a while is that Swiss people... Yeah, they're boring, but don't they look affluent? Like people from Swiss...
They all do, yeah. There's no thugs in that crowd, is there, the Swiss one? And actually, they were really good fans.
Yeah.
And they were singing the whole way through. I can't remember the song, but I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, they look like, obviously, good, respectable fans. But, the manager looks like a banker.
Yeah, he does not look like a football manager.
That Cher?
Fabian Cher.
He looks like he works in corporate himself.
If I'm not mistaken, it might have been him or one of them who actually was a banker at one point.
I'm not surprised. They look like... Okay, Shaqiri...
Well, the Shaq is a unit, isn't it?
Yeah,
I love the Shaq.
The Cube. Yeah, he was... or Xhaka is and he has a bit of grit. I mean, he has a bit of grit.
They sort of moved. So they're actually Albanian.
Albanian,
They moved to Schweiz. But they're all very dull. Nothing's open on a Sunday. Because I've been to Switzerland a few times. You can't mow your lawn on a Sunday because it's too loud.
I didn't even know that.
But you got clean air. It's prosperous. Is that something that would interest you?
I'd love to visit the Alps or just to see it. I hear it's very kind of majestic looking. But yeah, I mean, we got through the Swiss. I mean, they're behind us now. It's just to look forward.
Another England win, Tony.
Another England win. And on the back of that win, there was also another big win that happened. Was it last week?
And some people might say 2 big wins for Britain.
Yeah. Obviously, for those, I mean, I don't know if you can miss it. Labour won the general election.
Rishi Sunak is out with his tail between his legs, but he gave quite a humble speech. I don't know if you saw his exit speech. He just congratulated Sir Kier Starmer. He said, "Look, this is a very honourable man, and the British public have spoken, and you weren't happy with our government, and we've got to go." And this is what happens. I don't want to bring it up right away, but when you cancel HS2.
Yeah.
And you cancel the biggest infrastructure project in this country, what do you think is going to happen to you?
I mean, that is a good question. I think it was just people wanted a change anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it was at 14 years.
I think HS2 was the straw that broke the camel's back there, Tony.
Well, let's just say that...
Partygate, the mini budget, Liz Truss, Brexit.
Don't even get me started about Liz Truss. Liz Truss makes me feel better about myself in the sense that if I do mess up at work, it's never going to be as big of a mess up like she did. And that Kwasi.
She actually lost her own seat on Thursday night. Did you know?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So not only is she out, failure as PM, she couldn't even win one of the safest Tory seats in the country. So that was quite satisfying as well.
And another thing is I'm surprised she's bold enough to still be in politics after that. She's got her pension, was it 175 grand a year or whatever it is. Why still get involved? Yet she has no...
Shame?
Yeah, that's the word, shame. And I actually got to applaud her brazenness that she's still willing to speak to the public, and they'll be like, oh my God, my mortgage is all gone nuts because of you or whatever. But yeah, I think this leads on to our topic of the week later. I mean, we talk about this new government, and we really want to delve a bit deeper on what is the Labour Party's or the new government's priorities.
And just understand what is going to be great about this new government, and maybe even there's a couple of things that you're worried about, Tony, and we'll pick up on that later.
Yeah, hopefully. So far, I just know it from a very top level, but I think that the numbers will definitely help. But talking about numbers, obviously we had another Saturday draw, and it was quite a biggish one.
It was a gigantic jackpot amount, Tony.
Segment 1, it's last Saturday's Lotto results, so it was a £15 million jackpot, and I'll say it now, someone did win it, so they won a nice tasty 15
But was
million.
it us?
Sadly, it wasn't. It's not our time right now. So what were the winning numbers? So it was 11, 18, 24, 37, 47, 59, and bonus ball is number 13. Machine name was Arthur and ball set 6. So what were our numbers? So they were 6, 7, 30, 36, 43, 52.
So not a single match, Tony.
Not a single one. Maybe the universe is saving us for when England win the Euros, and we'll probably win it.
I'm happy with that.
Actually, yeah, if we win it this Saturday, then England win it on the Sunday.
Which they will, and we will. It's going to be one of the best weekends of our lives. Imagine what we'll do to celebrate it on the Sunday night.
I mean, do you reckon if England win on the Sunday that people will even turn up to work on the Monday?
I think I might be working from home that Monday.
But would you care? I mean, I'm just thinking, obviously, we want the key workers to be working. But if you're a normal office worker, it's kind of like...
I think it should be a national holiday.
I think Kier Starmer will jump on the back of this.
We did speak about this last week, and I guess he can't do it for the following day, right? It's too short notice. Or he just prepares it, but I think maybe for the week after.
Yeah, I mean, I can just envisage this already, like Gareth Southgate, Kier Starmer on the bus when they're celebrating, and then obviously Southgate's on the mic and he's going, "We've done it, we've won the Euros. Now it's time for economic growth." And then like Kier Starmer and Southgate, they do that kind of the dap.
Yeah, the fist. Oh, right, that thing.
It'll be like that from, was it Predator?
Yeah.
And they were like two strong men, coming together.
Somebody, a friend of mine actually said, Southgate and Starmer, the two most boring men in Britain. Which I think is unfair. Listen, two honourable, noble men. Now, I must admit, and many people can vouch for this, I was giving Southgate a little bit of abuse while I watched the game. He couldn't hear it, it was fine. But I was shouting at the screen a little bit and just saying, "Oh my God, Southgate." But by the end of that match, after the penalties, I was just shouting 4 more years. 4 more years. Because, Tony, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how many semi-finals did England get to between after 1966 World Cup up until Southgate took the job in 2018 or whatever it was?
How many semi-finals?
Yeah.
Euros?
Of any tournament?
Like 1.
I think it was 2. I think it might be 2. How many have we got to under Southgate?
Semis?
Yeah.
2?
3.
3? Oh.
We have now got to 3 semis in his
including
tournament.
this one.
And Tony, in the other one, we got out in the quarterfinals, which was an unlucky defeat to France, you remember?
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I've got a semi just thinking about the match on Wednesday.
No, it's true. I mean, to be fair, we got to the final.
We got to the final and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, we're going to do it again.
By the time we're on this pod next week, just imagine, we will be European champions and football will have come home.
Yeah, it's going to be... I'm actually looking for... Like, what... I'm just trying to think... I'm just trying to envisage it. Like, winning the lottery and then the Euros and then...
And Kier Starmer's our new PM.
And Kier Starmer.
Oh, my God.
Oh, this is incredible.
And the great thing is, if we do win the jackpot, depending on who we beat in the final, it's either going to be Spain or France. We could actually just buy out that nation.
With like
just
11
make them
million.
suffer and just make it a British colony.
Well, Spain is...
Spain,
parts of Spain is already...
It's already been colonised. Yeah, it's the last remaining British overseas... no, I'm kidding. But yeah, Tony, do you remember last week, we wanted to correct the record because we read out a story actually where it was about the law on lottery wins and your husband or wife. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I mean, I actually was very curious or surprised that they could get away with, if you're married, you won the lottery and they could not have any of it.
Because I guess you kind of think, everything we know about divorce, and Tony, I think you've been divorced 5 or 6 times. You've been through this process a lot. But everything we know about divorce suggests that you have to split everything, right? If you're married, you split everything with your
Unless
partner.
there's been a domestic.
Ah, okay.
I don't know, I think so.
5 out of the 6 times, right? That's good. Yeah, so that's what I thought. You have to split everything. Listen to this. Let's go through it step by step. Starting with number 1, notifying your spouse. We've spoken about this a lot, and I think this bit we did know. There's no legal requirement to tell your spouse if you win the lottery during marriage. However, during divorce proceedings, all assets, including lottery winnings, must be declared. So be wary of that. We've said it all along. Don't tell a soul. That's what I've been saying. Don't tell anybody except your financial advisor and your lawyer, basically. But if you then get divorced and you get sick of your partner, now that you're a millionaire or billionaire, whatever, all assets must be declared. So if you have won the lottery, you're going to have to let them know. So that's just a tricky one.
That's going to be awkward.
So maybe don't get married before you win the jackpot. So if you have proposed, just keep putting that off, putting it down the line, because you're probably going to win soon. Okay, step 2, sharing with an ex-spouse. The commonly held belief that a spouse is entitled to half of the winnings is not legally grounded, and this was a surprise. Lottery winnings may be considered matrimonial property if both spouses were involved in purchasing the ticket, which is quite unlikely, or if the winnings were if the winnings were invested in joint assets but not otherwise. Let me demonstrate that with a landmark High Court case. This determined that lottery winnings are not shared unless both parties were involved in the ticket purchase or the winnings were invested in joint assets, as I said. In this landmark case, the wife won the lottery, and I mentioned this last week, without her husband's knowledge, making the winnings non-matrimonial. However, when she used part of the winnings to purchase a family home, that portion did become matrimonial property. So, she won a jackpot. The partner didn't have access to any of that except the amount from the jackpot she used to buy the family home. That part he was then entitled to because it became matrimonial property because they bought that house together. Or they lived in that house together. So yeah, just to go over that again, a spouse isn't entitled to half the winnings unless it becomes a joint asset.
If she just didn't spend any of the money and she
kept
divorced
it all in the bank
him,
account, yeah, it'd be fine.
He wouldn't have any of it.
But she would have had that awkward situation where he'd have found out she was a lottery winner. Maybe she wouldn't have cared.
She might get... Well, sorry.
Anyway, so just to sum it up, so winnings before divorce. If lottery winnings are used to buy matrimonial assets before a divorce, they can be considered in financial settlements. But after a divorce, generally lottery winnings claimed after a divorce are not considered in settlements unless an ongoing maintenance agreement is in place. In such cases, an ex-spouse might claim a portion of the winnings. So, these are the facts, right? Say you're married and you win the lottery.
Yeah.
Consider to yourself, is it worth telling them? Can you trust them? Are they going to go and spill the beans? Are they going to tell all your friends, the rest of their families? Suddenly, before you know it, all their siblings are asking for a bit of money, all their cousins, their extended family, mother-in-law, they all want a bit of the pie. If you then buy any assets that are joint between the two of you, again, you're forfeiting that money.
Can I just clarify that?
Yeah.
So they already had the house?
I think, no. No, so they had a different house, if I recall. So, yeah, so what happened? So, here's another point. So, if it was a house that had been bought between them before, then it was a joint asset anyway.
Yeah.
But I think the lottery would have been separate had you just put that in a savings account.
Okay.
But any joint assets, if it's a car or whatever it is, maybe it's just a handbag. I don't know. There's a joint...
Some kind of joint.
Yeah.
You can prove it's joint.
Yeah.
It's joint something. Okay.
Yeah, then that will become... But yeah, Tony, if you win the lottery, and say it's 10 million, you put it in a bank account, 10 million, it's fine. They can't get their mitts on it. And if you buy a house for yourself, presumably it's fine too, because it's not a joint asset.
Yeah.
Unless your missus has her name on that home as well, on the mortgage.
Okay. So I guess people who are married, if they want to keep all of the money, they potentially can. Interesting. I just thought any type of time you would win the lottery and you're married, it's half 50-50.
Let's just flip it on its head, right? Let's say that you're in a marriage and your partner is the one who gets lucky and wins the lottery. Yeah. Just be very careful. Don't mention this podcast, okay? Yeah, in fact, do mention this podcast, but just... Don't let them listen to this episode and the previous one. What is it, 29 and 30?
Yeah.
And just say, oh, you know what? Hey, I've got a great investment idea for you. I'm going to open a joint investment account. You see my point? And then you say...
kind of trap them.
Yeah, and then you get half of it.
Yes.
Or even a joint bank account, presumably. We need to double check this.
Yeah.
But at the very least, we know on that landmark case, if it were a house, a property...
Yeah.
Joint asset for a car, that is guaranteed. But I would say property because you know the value is probably going to go up.
You can somehow maybe try to access their personal account, and once you tell them to set a standing order straight into a joint account.
Get it all in, yeah.
Oh, you just transferred 10 million to the joint account.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no.
Interesting stuff.
Actually, probably the law could probably go. Oh, you did something dodgy there.
That was without their knowledge, or you just asked them to do it.
But it's interesting stuff, Chris. No, thank you for following up on
I
that.
think maybe we need to follow up a little bit more just to see, because obviously we know about assets, but what about like a joint bank account? We need to double check on that. And maybe we'll get a lawyer on the show, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is very useful for our listeners who want to explore this.
But just okay, again, I'll say it one more time. Don't tell a soul. And it may, it's for their best interest, really, for your partner.
I'm going to put it out there for us. If they are if it's causing them too much stress, email us in and we can help them deal with it. Whether they want us to have some of the money while they tell the spouse how much they've got.
Yeah.
They've got a few million, but they want to transfer to us to hold in the time being that they say, oh, we've only got 50 grand. They split that, and we can always...
If need be, we can invest it on their behalf. It's totally up to them.
Yeah.
But I would say we could probably invest it on their behalf, Tony.
But clearly, we've demonstrated that we're experts in this.
Yeah.
Who else would they go to? We're just a helping hand.
We're essentially lottery experts across the spectrum. We've talked about mathematics and the chance of winning.
Yeah.
We've now covered legal aspects of it.
Yeah.
We've covered...
authorities on this stuff. I mean, clearly, we're 30 episodes in.
Covered, right?
Oh, too many stuff, yeah. And we'll keep on covering anything involved in a lottery.
Probability, which I just covered. But we've got all of it. And what's the first thing you would buy? We've covered that, and we've kind of got a kind of poll on that.
Yeah. It's we're always going to stay up to date. So just carry on listening. You're going to get the latest information in regards to the National Lottery. But Chris, what have our listeners been saying? Actually, talking about this.
Yes, Tony. So it's just been absolutely kicking off like mad on YouTube in particular. So, do you remember that we were talking before about
the old Willy Wonka, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old Willy Wonka kind of. What would you even call that?
Well, it's a complete embarrassment. Yeah, it's a 30. You pay 35 quid.
Yeah.
You're thinking, to be honest, you think you're going to get your money's worth. People know the Willy Wonka books. They know the film, and there was a recent film. Was it Wonka? Isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't watched
with
that
a new
one
kid.
Yet.
It's easy from June or something.
Oh.
So you would expect some level of what do you call it? Props and decoration, just to bring it to life a little bit.
Yeah.
But clearly, if the listeners remember, I mean, this was covered nationally, that it was a warehouse with a few bits of posters sticking around and some, foldable tables with a few, I think little cups of sweets and stuff. It was actually quite depressing.
It was disgusting. You kind of expect like Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like, you go to Disneyland, you go on It's a Small World or something like that. You want something amazing. And it was literally an empty warehouse. Anyway, what I thought was quite funny, Michael Berry, and I hope this isn't Michael Berry more.
That's what I thought.
Came in and commented on the video we had on YouTube about that. You expect all of that from a fan-made event for $35? And I'm guessing he's American because it's going to get saying bucks, but it could be Aussie or something. People need to temper their expectations. Stop being ridiculous. It wasn't an official event. Now listen to this. I worked at a bookstore for 5 or 6 years, and we had weekly story time events where one of our employees would wear a character suit or dress up as a princess or whatever, based on the theme of the book for that week. At least once a month we had parents have meltdowns and cause a big scene because the story time event wasn't up to their standards. These were free events. We had people threaten to get us fired because there wasn't enough showmanship, whatever that means. As a society, we need to stop the entitlement. It's out of hand and ridiculous, especially in situations like this. Tony, what do you think?
I said it was a fair point, and I said, look, but there needs to be a balance in expectations, though.
$35.
£35?
Not cheap.
In the cost of living crisis as well.
I mean... and I must say, I shouldn't really say exactly where I live, but I live in the vicinity of the XL Centre in London. And they quite often have events on there. And sometimes I might go to that. And it's always £35. I bet it's a lot better than this Willy Wonka thing. But my God, I've never bothered going. They had a Jurassic World thing on. Of course I'd love to go and see the dinosaurs. They have a Formula One exhibition in a few months. I'm not going to fork out 35 quid for that, Tony.
Well, the thing is, I've been to the XL time for, I think it's like the World Travel something. You get loads of freebies there. The stalls, they put on a lot of effort, with all the decorations, dancing and all that type of stuff. Those are very costly for those people to pitch up in those little kind of, I guess, stalls or whatever you call it. But yeah, I would say that obviously the book story bit about from his past where he's worked, I mean, that's just Karen's kicking off, and that that is a bit unfair. If it's free and they're getting abuse, that's not right. So he's got a point in that regard. But if you're a customer, the consumer is paying 35 quid, and they're bringing kids along, they're going to be several, they want to be wowed a little bit.
Yeah.
But the expectations, clearly there has been a bit of a disconnect.
I think if it's free event in a bookshop of all places, come on, and you just got staff doing that in their spare time out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Michael. But Michael, what are you talking about in terms of this Willy Wonka thing? That isn't free. $35, and this is the Great British Pound. This isn't dollars.
Yeah. So they for the Willy Wonka, they should have got more for 35 quid.
Tony, we need to respond again, because what's £35 in US dollars?
Probably like close to $40.
We need to click on his profile. It's more. It's even more. Let's see. 35 GBP, and the pound is going up. $45.
$45.
And if he's Australian, which something's just beginning to make me think, 67.
Wow.
So, Michael, you have screwed up there. Anyway, Spencer Beast on TikTok's been in touch as well. So, do you remember the Korean lady who murdered an English language tutor that she found online? And she went to this tutor's house dressed up as a school kid, and she just murdered the poor lady. Spencer Beast on TikTok says, "This is why smash rooms exist." And Tony, I have to admit, I had to look up what a smash room was, because I thought it was like some sexual thing.
Isn't it not?
well, I don't know. Because when I Googled it, it just said like those places where it's like rage room. But maybe it's both.
I think he means a love hotel.
A love hotel.
That's in Japan. It's quite popular.
Oh, I see.
But in Korea, they might have a similar thing.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't Google it now while we're live on air.
But yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, maybe he does mean a smash room.
I mean, it gets your anger out. Either way. But yeah, so that's the interaction we've had this week. And I must remind our listeners, please follow us. Win Me the Lottery. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Those are our main three, aren't they, Tony?
Correct. I mean, I am getting into TikTok, and I think, Chris, dare I say, we might need to do a TikTok dance maybe at some point, or a lip sync video. I think we would want that.
And I am beginning to wonder if we need to do some live streams on there when the lottery results are out. If it's a big one, like 15 million.
Yeah.
Or just when England win on Wednesday night.
We could totally stream that at some point, yeah.
Probably.
I think you've got to give the people what they want.
Yeah, and that is a smash room. Maybe you could go, because we've been talking about this for a while. Tony getting out to Korea, they're having to reverse vasectomies out there now. And just check out a smash room and just live stream from there. But anyway, listen, it's a new dawn for Britain. What did he say on Friday morning? He said the light is beginning to shine.
What did Kier Starmer say?
Yeah, he said something like, it wasn't a new dawn is broken, but it was a great speech. And Tony, I think that's our topic of the week this week. The new UK government.
Yeah, I mean, my first thing that I thought about is that now Labour are in power.
Yeah, left-leaning.
Are all the rich people going to leave the UK now?
Oh, what makes you think that?
Because it's Labour.
Well, I did have this discussion with a few people last week, Tony, and when the result came out, it was an event. And they said, "Oh no, I didn't vote for Labour. The tax is going to go up." I put them on the spot. I said, "What evidence do you have to believe taxes are going to go up?" I said, "Number one, we've been living under Rishi Sunak with the highest effective tax rate, the highest tax burden since the Second World War.
Yeah.
Number 2, Labour have ruled out raising taxes except the private school tax, which I'm quite happy with. What makes you think? Now, what they have done is continued the previous government's policy of not raising the thresholds, if you see what I mean, with inflation.
But they should, though. Do you think not? Or what? Would you?
Well,
the banding is a bit...
I don't know. I think there's a bit of a quandary here between how do we... So, we need to have growth, or we need to raise taxes.
Yeah.
To invest in public services, because we're not investing enough in public services. The way I would do it is, planning reform. Let's start building things. That's why I keep going on about HS2. Let's finish HS2. Let's build on these parts of the green belt which actually aren't green.
Someone needs to own... I want someone from the new government to really put their neck out and go, let's... I read somewhere that all they need is 1 or 2% of the green belt. These are for new homes.
And Tony, one of the problems we've had with building and all this infrastructure is that the local MP can turn around and say, oh, no, we can't possibly build here. That's why the cost kept going up, so they had to build all the tunnels. And the reality is we've got to scrap all that. We've got to do it like Japan. Japan don't care about the dormice. Knocking down the nest of the dormice, and we'll stop waiting for the dormice.
But, no, you're right. I just think what I got from Kier Starmer's speech was just, to be of service.
Yeah.
And I really like that. So I'm like, so are the rich people going to serve the poor people now? Is that what he means?
But, on that tax point, because I've heard it a few times, don't forget, Liz Truss tried to lower taxes a couple of years ago. Significantly. We'd all like to pay less tax, Singapore, UAE, Hong Kong, whatever.
Yeah.
They're city-states, essentially. Dubai is just funded by all the natural resource they have.
Yeah.
We're the UK. We're not able to do that. And actually, taxes are probably a little bit lower if you go into one of those calculators and you put in your entire salary. Because of the tax-free allowances, it's possibly not quite as high overall as people think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could put it in your pension and get some...
tax relief.
Back and then pay it later.
Yeah.
But, I think we'll have to wait and see. I think with all the growth, you need to spend money for growth. And where's that money going to come from? That's the... Well,
you've got to speculate to accumulate, Tony. It's like you do every week on the lottery.
Yeah. But I think, I am positive with this. Generally, I am positive.
I'm just going to say, my prediction is about Sir Keir. Everybody says he's very boring. He's not inspiring. They say he's changed his mind. This is the guy who ran the Crown Prosecution Service.
Oh, did he?
He's basically the top lawyer in the country.
Oh, okay.
He's run that entire thing. To me, I find him quite impressive. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, Tony, but by gum, we need to get HS2 back. And we need to do it all the way from London to Scotland.
Well, I think so. I mean, you're so passionate about it, Chris, that I'm actually starting to get really passionate about it as well.
Yeah.
And if it's going to cost us another 10 billion or how many ever billion...
100 billion? Let's just do it.
I think it's not about sunken cost factor. I mean, let's just get it done.
Yeah.
We need economic growth.
Imagine how you feel when you're on that train.
I'm going to feel amazing. Well, when we win the lottery, we'll get first class seats.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that if people say Kier Starmer's boring, I mean, that's what you want. You want stability. And then you want growth.
Yeah. And, we've had too much of people just playing games. Boris, Rishi, Liz Truss.
Oh, my God.
Brexit, all of that stuff, Tony.
I'll say this again. Liz Truss actually makes me feel good about myself in the sense that I'm never going to mess up as badly as her at work.
Yeah.
Imagine if I did the craziest fuck up, essentially, at work. Yeah. I'm not going to feel bad at it because it's never going to be as big as Liz Truss. I mean, she wrecked people's lives, really.
Yeah, and she still seems quite proud of herself.
She's just loitering around. How many days was she in office? It was like 44 something days.
Like that.
And she gets what? Did I read that correctly? 175k a year pension for life.
I think so. I don't know if she definitely got it. But.
My God. But yeah, talking about Labour's here now. New government. They say they're going to kickstart growth, and I thought, why not on a topical week? Let's go through what are their kind of top level priorities that they are saying that they're going to do. So I'm looking at the BBC website. We're looking at about 412 seats.
It was a huge majority, Tony. 412 against 121 for the Tories. Lib Dems, by the way, 72 up 64.
Yeah.
And another beautiful sight, the SNP down 39 to just 9. I'm sorry, I know we might have some Scottish listeners, but there's a lot of insane things that have happened in politics lately, but the idea of Scotland being better off independent has got to be one of the most stupid of the lot.
One of the things that I hear people band around is that they said that Labour didn't win it, Conservative lost it. I don't know.
I have a great counterpoint to that.
Go on.
Yes, the Labour vote share may not have been that high. Yes, they actually got more votes under Corbyn. But when Corbyn was there, people voted Tory, quite possibly to keep Corbyn out. This time, they knew Labour were going to win anyway, right?
Yeah.
So they can go off, they can vote for the Lib Dems, they can vote for these independents who won in certain places, they can vote for the Green Party who won a few.
Or Reform.
Or even Reform.
Yeah.
Because they knew Labour were going to win. All those people who voted Reform instead of Conservative were in effect voting for Kier Starmer.
Well, yeah, they
because that was your
used the vote. Yeah.
So I think it's all tactical, and it was tactical the last time as well.
I mean, Farage did almost get me when he said, "Put your cross where your heart is." And I thought, okay, that's quite. Oh,
did he actually say that?
I think so. My mum was saying that. I said that could be something that Farage would say.
Yeah.
So what are the top priorities from our new government? So the first one they said was provide economic stability with clear rules on tax and spending, including no increases to existing income tax rates, national insurance or VAT. Well, there you go.
That's there you have it. All you idiots who were telling me the other night they're going to put up taxes, you're stupid.
Well, I think they wouldn't do that straight away anyway. It will, maybe later, because I generally think that, I mean, what's happened with the tax that's increased, during the whole COVID
stealth tax?
Yeah, the stealth tax. Like, where's that gone? Is that HST? Possibly. Okay, this is another big one. And NHS is massive.
This has to change.
So they said, cut NHS waiting times with 40,000 more appointments a week by paying staff more to work weekends and evenings.
Good.
Well, the things with NHS, was it one of the biggest employers in the world, isn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah. And there's always going to be issues with the NHS. However, are we just going to keep funneling more money into it?
We need to fix it.
We need to fix it somehow. I think they need a different approach about how do we actually fix it and get it more efficient.
I just don't know how we solved that one.
I don't know. It's such a big.
I really think it's
tough
a behemoth, the NHS, and it really is possibly too big.
Yeah. Do you feel like under the Conservative power that the NHS has gotten worse? It's been neglected.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't dip in there very often, but we have a lot of friends who aren't from the UK, and they will just say, "This is shocking. This is so much worse than it was in my country," which is pretty sad for us to hear, Tony. And I remember growing up using it. It was fine.
Yeah. We're quite lucky. We're at this age where we probably don't need, unless we're in an accident,
But as we get older, and my parents, I've had some bad stories from them, and they didn't used to have these problems.
So I think definitely high on the agenda for Labour. And I think NHS is always big for Labour, so I think that's good news. Next one I said, create a border security command with counter-terror style powers to stop trafficking gangs and people smuggling. I mean, that goes without saying.
And I think this is around the illegal migrants and the boats. And Kier, I think, made quite a good point of, listen, he's talking about this Rwanda scheme, which
what's his stance on this, Rwanda?
Well, he's cancelling it, I think, if not already. And he's just said, look, this isn't a deterrent. If people are going to risk life or limb to get across, and at this stage, I think 2 people have been sent to Rwanda, how is that a deterrent? And instead, Kier, who's led the Crown Prosecution Service, made a good point. Let's smash the gangs. The gangs who are the ones putting them on the boats in France. He said he took down terrorist cells when he was director of Crown Prosecution Service. Why can't he do it again? I don't want to sound like his cheerleader, but I just think a lot of things he says make a lot of sense.
So yeah, I mean that makes complete sense. If there is some kind of illegal infrastructure that enables that, if you stop that, then would that be more France's problem? Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to figure it out. Okay, this one actually lights me up a bit because it says set up Great British Energy, a publicly owned clean energy firm to create jobs, cut bills, and invest in clean energy. Who is the energy secretary? Is Ed Miliband?
Oh, it's Ed Miliband.
It's Ed Miliband. I saw him. I just think of bacon when I think of him. I think of his great smile. I think of Wallace and Gromit for some reason. It's just great, and he's back.
A great guy. He's a great guy. Yeah. He's actually is somebody you want to just go and have a pint with, isn't he?
I thought he was going to do it. I thought the bacon was going to help him. Yeah. It just didn't quite get over the line with that one. But yeah, I mean, energy. I mean,
this is a great idea, Tony. We need clean energy.
We need the price to go down.
We need the prices down, and we need it here, so we're not reliant on foreign countries.
Next one is tackle antisocial behaviour with 13,000 more police and community support officers on the beat in England and Wales.
Haven't we been talking about this for months on this pod?
Yes.
That we just hate these people going around, grabbing phones out of your hands, stealing your bags. We can't allow this to happen. But Tony, what I thought was quite interesting is they've appointed Timpson. Did you see that one? As the the prisons...
Who's Timpson? Is he the guy with the glass and ginger? No.
The one who runs Timpson's.
Oh.
The key cutting place where they hire the second chances and all that.
Wait. What's his name? What, Timpson?
Yeah, Timpson.
Secretary.
Labour or whatever.
Okay.
If
it's the same dude I'm thinking of, he was very impressive in one of the... Is this him? Oh, no, he's not this guy I was thinking of. Oh, so he actually started Timpson's key cutting thing.
and that's the company that hires ex-prisoners.
Oh,
and so this guy has done some interviews before. He's basically said, look, the way you reform and revive offenders isn't necessarily to throw them in prison, lock away the key. It's community service. And he said, look, we don't need a third of the people who are in prison. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting to hear as well.
That is quite interesting. So he owns Timpson's and he clearly believes in rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to be honest, some of the people in prison, it depends what crime they've committed, I think. There are some, I think, minor crimes that are drug offences and stuff like that. I mean, I think we can let that slide a little bit.
I think there needs to be a rigorous process for developing these people and getting them back into jobs, Tony.
Yeah. Or just put them in the army or something.
or why not get them on our staff for this podcast?
Yeah, I mean...
And they can buy our lottery tickets for us.
Why don't they... Yeah. Okay, only if they haven't committed fraud or something, then maybe. Okay, if they murdered someone, I'm fine with that. But if they committed financial fraud, then maybe not.
Yeah, okay.
But, I think of antisocial behaviour. Who started the ASBO? I forget.
I think it was Tony Blair.
So it was a Labour thing.
Yeah.
Will they bring that back?
I think they've got to bring back the ASBOs, Tony. I really do.
On a serious note, people wore that as a badge of... not honour, but kids would be like, oh, I've got an ASBO. Oh, look how cool I am. But yeah, antisocial... To be honest, I don't know if I'm getting older. I feel like... Antisocial behaviour isn't as bad as it was, say, a decade, is it? Do you think it's gotten worse?
I think it's much worse, yeah.
Oh, right.
But maybe that's because I moved to London a decade ago. I grew up in Hertfordshire, so... but yeah, I mean, listen, Tony, What about these kids cycling around stealing phones over your hands?
Oh yeah, that is
How
bad.
can that be allowed?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that the police need to expend resource on catching them to send them to prison. But let's just get them litter picking on the streets.
Do you think...
Wearing a vest saying, I am a thief. Shame.
I think, if people... I feel like young people seem to have a lot of power. You're afraid to retaliate that you'll be in trouble. Maybe the new government says that, if you do have proof that a crime was committed against you, like, say if a kid robbed my phone and I grabbed the kid and I literally knocked him out, most likely I'll be more in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Than the young person.
So you're saying self-defense?
Yeah, I mean, I had a chat with someone that's from South Africa, and they're saying, look, if someone's committing a crime with you, like was robbing you, like a thief was at knife point, took something from you, people, if that were around, will actually join in to kind of beat up the thief because they saw that they were committing a crime. That wouldn't happen in London for sure. People would just turn up their nose and leave with the police, but you could potentially get in trouble just for trying to defend yourself if you use excessive force or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's always good if you can tackle antisocial behaviour. Who doesn't want that? I'm just going to end with the last one, which is recruit, education related, is recruit 6,500 more teachers and introduce free breakfast clubs at every primary school in England.
Nice.
So
I think go to every school.
Yeah.
Don't just go primary school, let's go every school. Why not every workplace as well?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think the nation would actually like that. Feed the nation.
One of those really interesting ones that come up is why not just, instead of benefits, whatever, pay everybody a living allowance every month?
Like food vouchers?
No, like just $2,000 in your bank account.
Well,
some of these radical, this is worth
universal income.
And universal income. And people have also said, when it comes to public transport, train tickets so expensive, just make them free. Just make the trains free, and actually, it gets more money into the economy.
Yeah.
Because people are travelling. They can get out for the day, and they spend that 30, 40 quid in the economy.
Well, isn't that...
That's
already...
how you get growth.
Is it? I can't remember what country is it. Luxembourg, where it's
I think somewhere they've done it.
Yeah, I would just say, but the whole universal income might come for us soon anyway, because AI.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Well, we're going to train the AI. You and I are anyway to win the lottery for us.
But every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's doing a mundane job now.
Yeah, they're going to be out of a job.
They'll retrain to. But like, if AI is going to do everything, there needs to be some form of just to keep society in place.
Well, what have we always said, Tony? When we work on AI together on our podcast, club sandwich model.
Oh yeah.
There has to be a human at the beginning, middle, and end of any AI task. But of course, there are going to be certain people. If you do find efficiencies with AI, maybe 66% of the people you needed before are going.
Yeah, so it is. But they'll have universal income then, just to keep.
And I must say though,
going.
That is one thing in this election campaign. It was played very safe. I can understand why Starmer was played safe. When did they mention AI and the changing world and these big topics like that?
Yeah.
So let's hope. Maybe they've already said something. They might have, Tony, but I hope so.
I mean, that's something just for the next speech, isn't it?
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Great. So if we move on to picking next week's numbers, segment 3, I'm going to start off with a story that is kind of closely related to AI, and it's about robots.
And it's actually similar to a story we had before. Do you remember? Anyway, I'll let you read this first.
The killer robot.
The killer robot, and it's been turned on its head now.
So this article is on India Today, and it is...
Do we trust it then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Definitely. Well, okay, they did spin the story a little bit when they said the title of this story is Robot Commits Suicide in South Korea because it was made to do a lot of work.
How would India Today know what happened in South Korea? That's my point.
Because they've got correspondence now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think. So, I mean, what are the main crux of this story? Well,
Look, Ankita Chakravarti, New Delhi. But anyway, let's keep going.
so, well, basically, it says in a surprising turn of events, a robot civil servant working for the Gumi City Council in South Korea has sparked a national debate after that. Many are calling the country's first robot suicide. The incident happened around 4 p.m. last Thursday, leaving the community both puzzled and mourning. So the robot, dubbed the robot supervisor, was discovered in a heap at the bottom of a stairwell between the first and second floors of the council building. Witnesses described seeing the robot behaving strangely, circling in one spot as if something was there before untimely descent. Gets down the stairs and smashed into pieces.
So, circling in one spot as if something was there. Now, was this a suicide, or was there a ghost or some kind of spirit there that was interfering with the robot?
That is a very good question.
Or an alien? Or
People have kind of just jumped to the conclusion that it was a suicide because, you know, they said that the robot's sudden demise has stirred up a mix of emotions, opinions in local media and online forums. Some people are questioning whether the robot was overworked, and others wonder about the broader implication of integrating robots into everyday human tasks. So the actually ends with the article goes, so was it really a robot suicide or just a tragic malfunction? While we may never fully understand the mechanical mind, one thing is certain, this incident has sparked an important conversation about the future of robots in our society. So are we saying that robots are conscious?
is this robot sentient? Yeah. Was this robot getting fed up with just going? And it did say in this article, I saw that the robot worked 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, tirelessly moving between floors using elevators. Did I tell you, when I was in Singapore, there was a robot patrolling the neighborhoods, and it was a security officer.
Oh.
And I think it had a camera on it, so it's just checking out to make sure nothing's going wrong.
Wow.
And crime is so low in Singapore. It's like in the tens of crimes per year. But I never saw a police car. Probably they just have these robots and then somebody just quickly watches.
That is so futuristic. I mean, that's great. I know in Milton Keynes they have those delivery robots, right?
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it'll just be, because it's a grid-like structure. Apparently, I've never been to Milton Keynes.
I have.
But it's like grid and then there's a load of roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they'll have these robots that just deliver stuff.
Oh, brilliant.
You, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, I found that really interesting. Like a robot, it could have been murder. It could have been us fed up.
Well, unless we have CCTV, as you say, somebody could have pushed it. Maybe it was a rival robot trying to progress. But could robots be sentient? Yes, they could, of course.
Well, I don't know if anyone's seen the anime Ghost in the Shell. That gets really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't watch fully all of it, but it got pretty deep. And it starts to talk about what is human and what is a robot. You know, when it starts crossing in between.
Have you watched the one where he falls in love with his AI assistant?
No. Was that the one with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it. Is that good?
Yeah. That's what you need to watch next.
Yeah, I need to see this. So the number I've got here is 23 because it was employed since 2023, so not that long.
And Tony, to be honest, we're already there with that Joaquin Phoenix. Because ChatGPT now, you just have a conversation on the new one. Have you seen?
No,
it responded, and I think they had to stop the voice. I can't remember if we talked about this on the pod. Because it sounded so much like Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I did see something where it's almost flirting with a lady.
Yeah.
And
it sounds really flirty.
So good.
And you can just chat. So there you go.
Right, so the next one that I have is number 30. And it's to do with a sex toy ban.
Oh.
This is going to get you really angry, Chris.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Do you like Etsy? Do you ever buy anything from Etsy?
I like Etsy and I love sex toys.
Is that where you buy your sex toys?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, this is highly relevant to you because Etsy sex toy ban sparks seller outrage. So, what does this actually mean? Basically, anything that is a sex toy or erotic items are now going to be banned from the marketplace Etsy. And it is sparking a backlash from sellers because a lot of them, this is how they earn their money and livelihoods. So it looks like from July the 29th, so that's not really that long. It's only the end of this month.
For 3 weeks. You've got 3 weeks to find a whole other niche or a different website to sell it on.
So I guess people who are looking for sex toys, they'll just have to go through a normal
why?
website. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, and it's a bit like all these different platforms where they censor all this stuff. Just put it on safe mode.
Yeah.
Or make, if people want to see it, verify your age and your identity.
Yeah, I mean, they do that anyway when you go to alcohol website and they say if
Yeah.
you're 18. But I think it's just, Etsy, typically, I know because it's focused on like, decorate, handmade vintage and arts and crafts type stuff. It said that new rules on sales would be introduced because of evolving industry standards. So they're getting a little bit kind of like, oh, we don't want sex toys. It kind of, maybe it doesn't align with their vision or whatever some of the kind of regulators are saying.
No, I just don't see any reason here, Tony. That just sounds like bullshit to me, evolving industry standards.
I mean, I guess if the sellers are making money, they're making money, so that doesn't really make much sense. But
once again, we've got the moral police out to tell us what to do on these big US tech companies.
all I'm saying is I'm a libertarian. If they want a sex toy, they're either going to get it from Etsy or they're going to get it from somewhere else.
Yep.
So it's got to be online anyway.
And hopefully there's a rival to Etsy who can make a bit of a big thing about this and say, look, we're still doing this.
Yeah, and the BBC actually, they obviously quoted quite a few sellers, and one of the things that stood out is that they said that this means that many people have just 30 days to find a new job because the self-driven traffic to a standalone website may not be sufficient.
Just to let anybody know, Tony and I have both worked in digital marketing for a long time. So if you do need help, we would love to help. Maybe you can send us a few of the products as well, just so we can get a feel for what they're like.
Try it out so you can...
just so we know the product better, get closer to the customers.
Well, there you go. So some people sellers are quite concerned that they may have to go back to the 9 to 5 or any job because the traffic, the referral traffic's from Etsy, where, that's going to go away. They're going to have to build up that traffic somehow again.
Start doing SEO.
Yeah.
I agree with Mike Stabile of the Free Speech Coalition, Tony. He said, Etsy are ruling out sweeping site-wide censorship. And that, to me, is true. I'm sorry, this makes me so angry.
I mean, it might drive others, the people that are selling to other ways to earn money.
Yeah,
Dare I say, OnlyFans or something?
Yeah. And this is what they're banning. Adult toys designed to be inserted into the body. So if not inserted, it's fine. Pornography, including vintage adult magazines and films. Using human models to display an item if body parts such as genitalia, gluteal clefts, or female nipples are visible. Advertising sexual services such as custom photographs and videos depicting nudity. Some non-photographic art where there is explicit nudity in the context is sexual.
Advertising sexual service. I didn't know you could do that on Etsy.
This is, we've got another 3 weeks. But yeah, I mean, how stupid is this? Look. You can't use models to display items if female nipples are visible. Oh, my.
Maybe they have a change of senior management. This is actually quite disheartening.
Just disgusting.
So that was the number 30 there because people got 30 days to find a job, essentially. That's what they're saying.
What would Kier Starmer say about this?
Oh, he would probably go... Well, is this of service to the country?
Yeah, it is.
I think this is. And he'll be like, yes, I'll get behind it. I reckon he probably already shops there.
Yeah, without doubt.
So my next one is... it's one of my favourite games on the N64, actually. Actually, Game Boy. It's The Legend of Zelda. Well, the Ocarina of Time was on the N64. And this story is related to a fan who's actually doing time now because a Legend of Zelda fan was jailed for carrying 6-inch Master Sword in public.
Oh, I've done that many times.
So this is actually not any other 6-inch people may be thinking of. It's actually a replica of one of the swords. So he's been sentenced for 4 months in prison. I mean, this might go back to the previous point about people spending time in prison for something that might
Yeah, I mean, listen, so he's had it in his possession in public.
Yeah, he's just carrying, like, it's almost like that kind of cosplay. Look at it. It doesn't even, it looks like a toy sword. Okay, you can probably do some damage. And he does look a bit dodgy, to be honest.
He does. And then they've just said, the police, we take a zero tolerance policy towards bladed objects in public, and he's fallen afoul of it. Well, come on, guys.
6 inches.
Why?
You definitely know how big 6 inches is.
Well, I'm a bit bigger than that, but yeah.
But he's carrying it. I don't think I see anywhere that he's used it on someone. He was just caught with a 6-inch blade.
Yeah.
Which is from the Legend of Zelda game.
And listen to the way they talk.
It's a prop in my book.
Sergeant Spellman, we take a zero tolerance to approach, I suppose means to bladed articles in public. Bray has fallen afoul of this. It is possible to find fidget toys that aren't 6-inch blades. It is possible not to walk down the street holding them out in front of you. With a bit more self-awareness, Bray could have avoided contact with us completely. Come on, just give him a bloody prayer.
Yeah.
You could get him out doing community service, right?
Definitely.
Looking out for other people carrying bladed objects in public. Maybe he could even use his blade to keep himself safe as he locates other people with blades.
You know what? He might be actually trying to protect people. Like, he's using the Legend of Zelda as inspiration. But look at this. He's now required to pay a victim surcharge of £154. And one of the comments actually stood out. Listen to this. Who is the victim? Because there is no victim in this story that I can see. And some of the comments here is like... This is the top 2 comments crack me up. It goes, the people of... I'd say Nuneaton can sleep more soundly tonight. And then this other one is... victim surcharge. For what victim? And then it goes on, the victim surcharge is money paid into a pool and can be dispersed to victims of crime in general. So he's paying for a victim that there was no victim, and it goes to a pool for victims of a crime that he hasn't even committed, essentially.
Yeah.
That's wild. But anyway, so that's a 6-inch sword, so I'm going with the number 6 there, Chris.
Nice one, Tony. So on to the numbers that I think are going to seal our lottery victory this weekend ahead of England's victory as well. Man wins £500,000 lottery prize after blunder. So this guy is actually from Hertfordshire, which has turned red by March. Yeah, I'm from Hertfordshire as well, and
was it blue?
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was very much blue, and I couldn't believe to see the results coming in overnight. Labour here, where I'm from, it went Labour for the first time in years. Lib Dem over here, Labour here. So Mark Wilson, 62, from Hertfordshire, made a very lucky mistake. So essentially what he did is, this ecstatic engineer pressed the wrong button. And he ended up buying 4 tickets per month on the postcode lottery.
What an idiot.
Now, the way that the postcode lottery works is, if your postcode comes up, that's it, you've won. So because he had 4 tickets, it quadrupled his winnings.
What a genius.
What a genius. So he won 500k, quadrupled, instead of 125k. Now listen, this guy has over 4,000 records. You won't believe how much room it takes up. So he's actually looking to get an extension and loft conversion in his house to make space for the records. He says, this has changed our lives forever. I'm a £500,000. So when he did the direct debit, he pressed 3 instead of 1. He never bothered changing it. He said it's going to charities. Don't know if that's true. Need to fact check that.
Yeah, we need to check out.
He then thought it wasn't working, the direct debit, so he went and added another one on PayPal, which is how he got 4. So that was fantastic. But yeah, it was quite a good article, this one. It just kept going. And the house expansion plans will also include a new bathroom, Tony, as well as space to house all his records.
So what's the number with this, Chris?
So the number for this one, Tony, is the number 4, because he ended up buying 4 tickets per month instead of 1.
Brilliant. That's quite lucky that he didn't intend to buy 4. But had he not bought 4 by accident, he wouldn't be 500,000.
He would have only won 125,000. Queen. Tony, what's the one thing I've told you and our listeners time and time again if you come up against a massive animal?
Is to run away.
Don't approach it. Yes. Don't offer it food.
Yeah.
Right. So, if you are driving along in Romania and you come across a massive bear, should you go and approach it and try and take a selfie with it?
That would be the last thing that I would want to do. If I had a selfie stick, no. If I had a stick, maybe. No, I wouldn't.
And to be fair, I told you about this. When I was in Malaysia a few weeks ago, the tourists were sprinting towards the orangutans to do the same thing. And they're lucky that the orangutan didn't lunge towards them like this bear did. So it was a terrifying moment where a bear lunged at a woman who tried to take a selfie with it. And I just don't know what to say, Tony. You can watch this video online if you Google it. A woman walked over to a large bear by the side of the road with her phone in her hand. People were recording her doing this, and they were heard saying in Romanian, "I have to film it. Look at how she is holding her hand. Stupid girl." The bear suddenly lunged at the woman, leading her to quickly scarper back to her car.
What?
The animal did actually stop and allowed her to run away, but it gave her an angry look. You can see it in the video, Tony.
It's on TikTok.
It is on TikTok. And actually, just to get your live reaction, Tony. So here she goes. She goes right up to it. Poof!
Wow, she is brave. What, did she do that just to get the video on TikTok?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can search that one out, but...
Wow, she's got a death wish right there.
That is bear brave. That is bear brave, mate.
That is bear brave, bro.
Bear brave, bruv. Yeah, so we've gone for the number 50 there, and you may ask, why did I go for the number 50?
I actually don't know. Why did you go?
Bears can run up to 50 kilometres per hour, and that is one of the many reasons why you ought not to approach one if you find it in the wild.
It doesn't look fast, but clearly
it's safety
is.
Tony, it's safety first. Yeah. How many times have we said that on this pod?
Well, it's for a Darwin Awards, right? So maybe people do this stuff, and then they get killed, and it's like, well, you're kind of removing yourself from the gene pool, which is a good thing in the greatest scheme of things.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest. Maybe we shouldn't be worried about this. And just the last one from me, Tony, that caught my eye this week, and it's really, I felt it was incumbent on me to share this one because it's quite terrifying. So, how often do you add soy sauce to your food?
I mean, I have soy sauce for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yep.
Without fail.
Without fail. And soy sauce, you'll see it all the time. If you go to Asia, you have Asian food. Fish sauce, of course. If you're in Thailand, you'll see fish sauce as well. So listen, how much is the most that you would ever sort of add to a meal?
About half a litre.
Half a litre.
Yeah.
So, actually, this has been a report was published online by the Journal of Emergency Medicine, where a 19-year-old US man, American guy, guzzled a quart of the dark-coloured liquid in what was later reported to be part of an initiation to join a university fraternity house, a frat house.
Oh.
So we don't really have all that in the UK, the frats and what's the other one?
The hazing process.
The hazing.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start it in for all the interns we get on this pod.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's what's the kind of, I suppose, the appeal of going to university in America is that they got that that college culture of you see all the team
humiliation.
Movies. Yeah, the fraternities, and it's all kind of cool. You've got the brotherhood, you've got these crazy pranks.
There's something reassuring about the kind of hierarchy and the humiliation aspect to it. 6
figures of debt, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah. So in 2013 this happened. He began experiencing seizures and foaming at the mouth shortly after consuming it. 2 hours later, he was grinding his teeth incessantly. He was generally unresponsive, unable to respond to verbal commands. His arms were stiffly placed at his sides. The patient was treated by medics who administered anti-seizure medication to stabilise him. while attempting to suck out brown material with scant streaks of blood from his stomach with a tube that ran from his nose.
Is he allergic to soy sauce then, or just the salt?
I
It's
think
the sodium.
just too much.
Oh,
He fell into a
sodium.
coma, then he was transferred elsewhere. Dr. David J. Kohlberg, I apologise, he didn't respond to any of the stimuli we gave him. He had some clonus, which is elevated reflexes. The nervous system wasn't working. So Tony, it's just absolutely crazy. The highest ever recorded blood sodium levels.
There you go. It's the too much salt
poisoning. So yeah, it can lead to life-threatening complications if left untreated. It is toxic. Soy sauce. There's about 900 milligrams of salt in a single tablespoon.
See, I made a sterner stuff.
You are, yeah, and you have way more than that. So yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. It can lead to lasting neurological problems or brain damage as well. But he did actually make a full recovery, woke up from his coma 3 days later. Miraculous recovery.
Was this an Asian fraternity, by any chance?
I want to know who it was. You know, I really want to know.
Just stick to the classic of like urine or like semen. You know, you've seen those teen movies. You know, who hasn't seen
Absolutely.
What film was that again? It was the guy that never leaves college. He's the guy that plays. It's going to really annoy me now. What's his face? It'll come to me later. Oh wait, the chain.
Normally when you're
I should know this.
The Change Up.
Yeah, it's the actor. His name's Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he was in his teen comedy.
Oh, and Jason Bateman was in that one as well.
So Ryan Reynolds, teen comedy. I mean, he's in a few, but I remember there was a scene. What was it? Van Wilder? That was it. Have you seen this film?
What, National Lampoon?
Yeah, I don't know how it's related. You just called.
I must watch that.
Oh yeah, there's a
National
scene.
Lampoon somehow.
Watch the scene and you'll know what I'm talking about. I won't say any more.
Okay. National Lampoon's Van Wilder. The most popular guy in his collegiate campus spends his time organising fundraisers. He makes no effort to graduate. Subsequently, a journalist makes him admit his fear of graduation from 2002.
Tara Reid's in it and she looks rather nice.
Fetching, would you say?
Not nowadays, but yeah.
Clearly not.
This is the early 2000s.
Oh my goodness me. But yeah, Tony, number 13 on that one, because it did happen in 2013. But we do need to know, really, and find out who was this person, why. And yeah, so a quart, by the way, is 1.13 litres.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's even more than you normally have.
So he chugged a whole litre. I mean, that is dangerous. I mean, that actually
How much
is
like in a normal... Even if you get one of the big bottles of soy sauce, it's like 500, isn't it? So you
the big
chug
ones.
like...
Two of those.
Oh, that can't taste good either, can it?
I mean, your tongue will be your throat will probably be closing up from all the salt. You know, it would just be like, come out his nose and stuff. I don't know.
Safety first, people. Safety first. That is unbelievable.
Brilliant. Okay, so that brings us to all 6 numbers. So the numbers that I will be buying for this week's Lotto Draw is 4, 6, 13, 23, 30, and 50. Well, there you go. Those are the winning numbers.
Yeah. So, guys, don't buy them because only we should.
So we're going to win. So Wednesday.
So Wednesday we win the semi-final. We slap up those Dutch bar stewards.
Saturday we win the lottery.
Saturday we win the lottery. So then we go out partying Saturday night, and we just keep going and we keep going. We head out to Germany in the morning, get a few hours kip in the
the first class,
the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. On the plane in the first class and in the Four Seasons when we check in.
Yeah.
Get tickets for the match, and we see England slap up. Hopefully France. Something tells me France is going to fluke it through to beat Spain.
Do you reckon?
Spain are really good, but Spain have been better, but France are just fluky. And France are pretty useless, a bit like England have been. And we're going to slap up the Les Grenouilles in Germany, and it's just going to be one of the best moments of our lives.
Even if the tickets might be all sold out and pre-allocated, but we'll go, look, here's $100,000, give us the tickets.
Yeah,
someone's going to do that.
Somebody will
here you
hand
go.
it over.
We just chuck over what a euros. Go, there's $100,000.
By the way, wouldn't you rather see us win it against France than Spain?
What to get
get one
back.
over on
Yeah.
them?
And just see Ninja Turtle and Mbappe just going all crying and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with that stupid mask around his face.
I think, I'm excited.
What about Ronaldo? Can we just bring up Ronaldo? Did you watch any of the Portugal games?
No, I didn't see any of it.
He's just lumbering around. He never gets taken off. But he just doesn't do anything. Honestly, if you watch their games, and one bit really made me laugh where the commentators were like, oh, but it's Ronaldo. You just get a flash of brilliance from any moment. And the next minute, they crossed the ball in and it came right to Ronaldo. I was like, sugar, he's actually going to do it.
Yeah.
And he just blazed it miles over the bar. He didn't score once in open play. They even got a penalty against, Slovenia, and he missed it, Tony.
Oh, was this in normal time?
In normal time.
Oh, wow.
Or extra time, I can't remember.
I think I did see something online where it showed how many shots that Ronaldo's taken for Portugal, and the conversion.
He took every single free kick they ever got, and he just blazed it over every time. 39 years old, you've got to know when to quit. He's blemishing his legacy now, Tony.
I'm a Ronaldo.
And you're a Ronaldo lover.
I do. I think
somehow you prefer him to Messi.
Yeah, I mean, I do. But do you remember the time when they actually won was it the Euros?
Yeah, he was.
He was on the sidelines. He's just kind of like a cheerleader, going like, "Come on, do this," and he was even on the pitch when they won it. But hey, he is quite a specimen, I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
still playing.
It's quite funny because they got him 39 and Pepe 41 still playing. And actually, Pepe clearly he's very old, but he impressed me actually.
Oh, he was still good.
He made one big mistake in one of the games, but I think it was in their last game against France. He got absolutely skinned on the counter-attack, but he made it back.
Oh, you still got the
pace? He came
pace?
back and he actually got the ball. Well, he just sheer determination, really.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, between the two of them, they're 80. But I must admit, when you looked at them next to each other, one looks a lot older than the other, Pepe.
Yeah.
Because he's never looked young, has he, Pepe? He's been bald since he was 17.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Well, I've only seen he does a little right with hair anyway. He looks better when he's been shaven. Yeah. All right then. I guess that brings us to the end of episode 30. Can you believe it, Chris?
Wow.
30 episodes of Win Me the Lottery. I guess we'll see you when we're European champions
and lottery winners.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.